The Atlanta police chief stepped down Saturday in the wake of the death of a 27-year-old black man who was shot by an officer while fleeing during a struggle at a Wendy's drive-thru late Friday night, according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Hours later, protesters set the fast food restaurant on fire after clashing with police and National Guard's troops. Rayshard Brooks had been asleep in his car at the drive-thru, causing other customers to drive around the car, the Bureau of Investigation said. Police were dispatched to the Wendy's around 10:30 p.m. and conducted a sobriety test on Brooks, who failed the test, according to the officials. During the arrest, the male subject resisted and a struggle ensued, the Bureau of Investigation said. The officer deployed a taser. Witnesses report that during the struggle the male subject grabbed and was in possession of the taser. It has also been reported that the male subject was shot by an officer in the struggle over the taser. One officer was treated for an injury and discharged after the confrontation. Brooks died in the hospital after surgery. Police Chief Erica Shields is immediately stepping down after the shooting, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms announced in a news conference Saturday afternoon. She also called for the termination of the police officer who shot Brooks and for another officer to be placed on administrative duty. While there may be debate as to whether this was an appropriate use of deadly force, I firmly believe that there is a clear distinction between what you can do and what you should do. I do not believe that this was a justified use of deadly force, Bottoms said. Bottoms said Shields would continue in a different role to be determined in the police department. To the family of Mr. Brooks, there are no words strong enough to express how sincerely sorry I am for your loss. I do hope that you will find some comfort in the swift actions that have been taken today, she said. Bottoms called Shields a solid member of APD for over 2 decades. And, because of her desire that Atlanta be a model of what meaningful reform should look like across this country, Chief Shields has offered to immediately step aside as police chief so that the city may move forward with urgency in rebuilding the trust so desperately needed throughout our community, Bottoms said. On Saturday night, several hundred people gathered in the parking lot of the Wendy's where Brooks encountered the police. Some chanted "Say his name" and carried signs that read, "He didn't deserve to die" and "Convict the killer cop." The restaurant was closed to patrons. Tyler Brown, 29, said he was one of the first protesters to arrive at Wendy's Saturday morning after learning about Brooks' death on social media. Brown, who lives just a few blocks away, said, "The community is baffled at why the officer felt the need to kill Brooks. Honestly, I'm tired of it," Brown said. "No matter what you do, you're unarmed, you're not a threat, you're down on the ground in handcuffs, and they still feel the need to put the knee on your neck or shoot you." Kayla Pruitt, 24, of Atlanta, said the cries from protesters in recent weeks seem to have fallen on deaf ears with police. "We've been out here for a couple weeks now, and y'all still killing folks," said Pruitt, who arrived Saturday at the Wendy's to protest police violence. "It's like, have y'all heard nothing anybody has said?" The peaceful protests suddenly turned violent around 8:30 p.m. after National Guard troops arrived toting guns. Some protesters began surrounding one police car and rocking it. Other protesters surged on the police and troops without touching them, forcing the law enforcement officials to walk backwards from the crowd. After a few minutes, the law enforcement officials released several canisters of tear gas into the crowd, sending the protesters fleeing in panic. Protesters later shut down an interstate highway in both directions and set fire to the Wendy's restaurant, where Brooks was fatally shot the night before, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It's unclear why Brooks was sleeping in his car at the drive-thru Friday night. Wendy's surveillance video published by the Bureau of Investigation Saturday afternoon appears to show officers arriving in a vehicle to the drive-thru parking lot. The vehicle can be seen pulling up to another car, but the officers and Brooks cannot be seen in the video. About half an hour later, Brooks can be seen running away from 2 officers who chase after him. As Brooks runs away, he turns back toward one officer and points the taser, and that officer fires his weapon. Brooks falls to the ground and appears to remain motionless. As the 2 officers approach Brooks on the ground, bystanders can be seen getting out of their cars and recording video.
Please subscribe my channel JHTV and click on bell icon for latest news. Thank you.